Hey guys, James Wilson Taylor here for Rock Sound. It's another of our video calls. We are catching up with everybody while we're all stuck at home. I'm delighted to say from Underoath Aaron's on the line. How are you, man?
Doing great. Just here locked up, but good, man.
Locked
Really
up.
good.
Yeah, we were just saying before you were starting, it sounds like, happy birthday, by the way, belated birthday. We're recording
Cheers.
this a little
Thank you.
couple of days after your birthday,
Yeah,
but
yeah, just a couple days.
sounds interesting, man. Sounds like it was a particularly locked up one for you, man.
Yeah, well, I live on the west coast of the States, and Underoath is from Florida here, which is the worst COVID in the world right now. Where it was last week, I haven't kept up with it much, but we've been getting tested, the guys in the band, before we play together, but we're only playing on Fridays. Our first one was last Friday. And there's preparation for a few days before, but it's like my wife, we have a month-old baby. So we just had a baby. And I have an 8-year-old. So she's like, you just have to stay there and then get tested before you come home. So here I am just sat, during the week. Like I brought like a lot of recording gear and it's been working. It's crazy. It's so weird, so I'm just in a rented a house and I'm just sat here. So
I mean, good for you doing the right thing, though. I think a lot of people in the position would probably be tempted to be like, "Oh no, I could sneak out, maybe be fine." Good for you for actually going.
it's
What, this is
hard,
what we have to
I
do.
mean,
Yeah, it's tough. Of course, it is.
the initial plan before Florida got super, super bad with cases was I was just gonna, travel back and forth because the airplanes, I haven't flown since January, because of COVID, but airplanes are quite safe. It's like there's no middle seating. You have to have a mask to get on. They recirculate the air more often, and there's literally no one in the airports. Like yeah. So I was gonna fly back and forth, and then this whole thing happened where it got worse down here. So here I am, sat
Hey,
here.
good to be on the safe side, man. Good to be on the safe side. Well,
Yeah,
before we get into the streaming and everything, that's interesting. You say you've been working. Are you actually able to work on much while you're kind of stuck there remotely?
a lot, man.
Oh, cool.
Honestly, probably since the beginning of the year, um, I had a plan. I did a tour with my other band here in the States in January, and then I do like a lot of pop songwriting, co-writing. So I kind of had it planned for a couple of months. I was going to lay low and just write. Um, and then this whole thing happened, and I've just been really busy. I think a lot of artists are really like, and I'm sure you've seen this in your chats. I think a lot of artists are trying to like kind of load the tank before this is over. That way, when this thing is over, you kind of have a product to move forward.
Yeah, hit
So,
the ground running when you can, kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been super busy. And with the way recording is now, you need a couple mics and an interface. So I honestly have stayed really busy, which has been good. Yeah, just sat here in a house. So
Oh man, it's tough.
yeah,
Hopefully not for too much longer. Hopefully not for too much longer. But
no, no.
but very cool thing you guys get to be getting on with there in Florida, which is this observatory idea. Let's talk about that because I've got to say, it can't have escaped your attention. So many bands trying these live stream things, and they're all trying in different ways. I got to say, you guys, one of the more ambitious ones. It's very, very cool concept, very cool idea. Talk to me about putting together the actual concept behind Observatory.
We've been talking about this for a while as we realized here in the States that it's going to be a long time before bands tour. I think that you might be able to, like, some small venues will open, but the type of places that Underoath plays, it's going to be a long time. I don't know how long, I heard yesterday or on Friday that Philadelphia postponed all concerts until the summer of 2021. So it's really beginning to stretch out. So our thing was like, we really want to play together. We want to offer something unique to the fans, and it is easy to throw up a camera and do a live stream, an acoustic show, or and then everything you see, I don't know if you know about this, but everything you see where there's like the little boxes, where the people are playing, that's all fake. So each one person records their own thing and then it's mixed together. So our thing was, which is fine, but our thing was, if we're going to do this, like, let's really do it. Like, let's get together, let's build something, let's make something unique. And to be honest, it was quite a risk because we didn't know if it would be good. I think for us, we wanted to create like this alternate reality slash like, this kind of widget in time where, like, there's vinyl for this, which is like, my idea with the vinyl was I wanted it to feel like an import. Like American vinyl collectors are really into like getting a British piece of British vinyl or a Japanese vinyl or whatever. So I wanted to make it feel like it was this stamp in time, like an alternate reality. Like, here's this vinyl, the Observatory Quarantine Edition or whatever. So we just started riffing on it mentally, like, what do we want this to look like? What do we want it to feel like? We do know if we go and do a live stream, it has to be kind of our flavor, and to be honest with you, that's kind of where my creativity stops with it. And then all the people that work with us come in and do it. And everyone's done such an amazing job. Like, I couldn't believe, I saw a few songs back late Friday night after we did it. And I was really impressed by it, to be honest with you, by the way it looked and the way it sounded and, just everything about it. So for us, we just wanted it to be our way, meaning, let's just really farm this out and go over and beyond with it. So.
Yeah, it's cool. And I did notice it, especially in the kind of build up to everything. And like you say, the vinyl tie-in and everything, it's so difficult to make one of these things feel like its own event. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously it's going to go in the same room, but it really feels like that was kind of one of your top priorities there, was like, no, this needs to feel like it is an event to be excited for right here. I
mean, we are in the same room and it's actually live. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we have a counter, counts down when it happens. We do it one time and that's it. So it's the real thing. It's a show. And that's us playing in this like spaceship circle that we built. And, man, like, it's really cool because it's actually where we're actually doing it is the place where we rehearse. So it's a large soundstage we rehearse in, and we cleared it out and we're just sat in the middle, and there's this ring of lights. And if you go out into that ring of lights, it's just a crazy warehouse, where all of our equipment and crap is. And but once you walk into that, the way they designed it, once you walk into that circle of light, it literally feels like a show, which is why I think that it watches and it feels the way it does for the fan, because for us as the band, it feels that way. You feel like you're performing. It doesn't feel like, oh, here's like something we're doing that's just kind of to bide us time until they let us out of the house. It feels like a true show, which is cool. So
yeah, it's got a different energy to it for sure. That makes sense. And I imagine adding to that kind of sense of anticipation, that sense of excitement there, has to be revisiting the albums in full as well, which always is going to feel like an event for fans particularly. I guess my first question there is, what were the songs you had to kind of go back and look at and go, oh yeah, this has been a minute since we played this one. Was there anything you had to relearn?
Yeah, I mean, with Lost in the Sound of Separation last week, we really only play one or two songs off that album since we got back together in 2016. Before that, when that album, we were playing a lot of that stuff. But since 2016, we've only played two or three of those songs. I think we've played three. So it was a curve of learning, And then there's three songs on that record we have never played live before as a band. So that was a bit of, it was, we did a lot of rehearsing. I mean, usually we get together once or twice before a tour and go through the songs and go. So we spent about a week kind of farming that out. But then, this Friday we have Define the Gray Line, and next Friday They're Only Chasing Safety, which is stuff since we got back together in 2016, we started out by playing those two albums in full, back to back, So I think that these will be a little bit easier for us to I think we have like one rehearsal before each one. So this will feel more familiar to us, But the first one I'm glad we did that album first, because it was a mental, like, it was one of those things, though the live stream was fun Friday, it was like, do I remember the words to this? Is this, it was a little bit of that. So
yeah. Flying by the seat of your pants a little bit.
But we pulled it off. We pulled it off. Yeah, I think it had a sense of urgency because we were actually like, oh my God, like, do we know this shit? Like, what do we know? So, yeah.
That always keeps it fun, keeps it interesting, keep you on your toes a little bit.
Absolutely.
That's always good. So aside from kind of relearning stuff, what were the kind of bigger challenges? Like you say, it's a big team you've got there who are obviously putting together this setup. There's a really, really impressive looking setup. What were the challenges kind of in making sure you got from the initial idea to here we go, we're live right now?
Man, to be honest with you, like, I have so little to do with that, but I'm on the emails and I see it, our lighting designer, a guy by the name of Andy Nisley, he's in Philadelphia and he was uncomfortable traveling to Florida. like a lot of people are. So he literally designed this entire show, like all the lighting cues and everything from his laptop at home. And then it goes into a program and it just is like a robot where it just runs itself. So I'm sure that was a lot of work for him. Like I can't imagine how much more work that would be than actually being in the room. And then we have 8 camera angles. So there's 3 or 4 that are static, but then there's a whole camera crew, and those guys are there hours and hours, all masked up, so no one can just willy-nilly walk about. And it's very, very hot here. So they're all masked up. And we have sanitizer stations, all throughout this facility. And then I think for me, our audio person who's worked for us for years now, he literally is mixing like an album on the fly. So he's way far away from the stream, like in the other end of the building, and he's literally mixing through Pro Tools like it's an album. So he's doing the live mix and then also like mixing down. But for us, like for our management and we work with a group called Tension Division. They kind of designed the whole look of Underoath. So our management, and then they really had to figure out how to make this, like you said, like an event, and they had to figure out how to do it during this time. What you don't realize, if you all lived in the same house and you get some acoustic guitars out and you play on your Instagram Live, that's one thing. But, kind of creating this whole like production, it's been, man, my manager told me Saturday, he goes, I've never been so tired in my life. I think these guys just work their butts off, and my hat's off to them. Cause to be honest, I kind of just showed up and played, but
Sure.
yeah, I mean, which is, I don't want to take credit for it. I say that because like our manager, like even like Tim, our guitar player, and Chris, our keyboard player, they really built this thing, musically, how it never stopped. Our whole thing was we never wanted it to feel like, hi, how you doing? We wanted it to feel very like mysterious and kind of ethereal. And those guys created all that in between the songs stuff. To be honest, I just kind of showed up and was kind of, did my thing.
Still an important job, man. Still necessary.
Yeah, played and sang. I've never really taken the role in Underoath. Like I kind of do a lot of the writing with the guys, and we really break our backs in the studio. But when it comes to day in, day out stuff, that's just not my my strong suit in the music industry. I can't the tedium of like building a set and all of the I just can't. Like my brain doesn't work that way. Like I'm a performer and a creator, and then beyond that, I'm sort of just like, okay, whatever you guys think,
Fair
So
enough, man.
they've done such a good job. Like I honestly, when I walked in last week, I was like, whoa, this is impressive.
No, and it is impressive, and it does beg the question as well, because obviously there's the 2 more shows that we know are happening over the next consecutive weeks at the time of recording. But I'm hoping, surely, given the success of these, and it seems to be going out so well with the fans, and like you say, just the nature of how much it takes to build something like that. Are you thinking ahead? Are you thinking there'll be more?
Yeah, I mean, Spencer and I have for sure, when the first one ended, we're like, we should do something else. So I think that it's just a matter of like the amount of work it goes to create all that content, I think is the thing for us is like, but like I just said, we don't know how long it's going to be. This could become something. This could be the new, touring in a way. And it's really economical for fans, like you can buy a case of beer and sit on your couch and get a ticket to this thing for your whole house for $15. You know what I mean? You could have 10 friends rock up and you guys all get drunk and watch a show that looks like a show and feels like a show. And it's $15 per ticket, like, per television or computer or whatever, so it's a really economical thing. And I think that people, it's becoming the new normal, So like, with that thought in mind, maybe we just keep going. I don't know. Obviously right now, all we have planned is the next 2 weeks. So
see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond that, I'm not sure. I didn't think it would be such a success. I thought like, oh, we'll sell a couple thousand tickets and it'll be okay. So I didn't realize it would be such a, I mean, people were literally buying tickets when it was over so they could get access to see it,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's you never know because we are in, as everyone says, it's uncharted territory. It's
It's
unprecedented, but it's
true.
true. You don't know until you try a project like this just how it's going to go down. It's great to see it go
Well,
down the way it
especially
has.
in our business, like, and by you're sat in your house talking to me over the computer,
Yeah,
like you don't know what's going to happen. Like we don't know. We see people trying to open things. We really see that here in Florida where they tried to open things. They were opening bars and such, and there was bands playing at bars, and then the cases got so bad that there was 15,000 cases in one day last week here in Florida. So I think it's going to take time. And then even when things do open, like, can you imagine going to Shepherd's Bush full of people? Like,
yeah.
do you imagine what will people be like?
Mm.
Like, will they, everything's okay. Here we go. Like, Bring Me the Horizon's playing at the O2. Here's your ticket. There's going to be 20,000 people there. Are you comfortable enough to go?
Yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think
yeah.
there's a
It's going to
little
be
bit of
different.
like, it's going to be weird, right? Like, I can see people rocking up to a barfly and, having a beer and standing 5 foot from their friends, but I can't imagine like a cramped. I can't
Yeah.
imagine when people are going to feel comfortable doing that, right?
Yeah, I
Like,
think everything's going to have to adapt. I think all shows will look very, very different next year, and it's how you adapt and how you change it. I suppose that's going to be interesting to see
yeah.
what
I
people
mean,
do in the next few months.
I wonder when we'll see,
Hmm.
like a packed show. It's interesting to think of. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see,
Um,
man. We'll have to see.
yeah.
Moving on a little bit just from that, so there's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about as well, because since we
Yeah.
last saw you earlier this year, we were chatting from the guys from Silverstein, which is really interesting. Of course, you
Mm.
appeared on that album on Infinite. Just wondering how
hmm
that kind of collab came together. How did you find working with those guys?
We came over the pond the first time with Silverstein, in 2005. So our first time ever to the UK, our first time to Europe. So we've known them for 15 years, you know, and Shane and I talk quite a bit, and Shane has a really popular podcast here in the States called Lead Singer Syndrome. So him and I have chatted quite a few times, and he kind of just reached out and he said, "Hey, man, like we have this song, and we think you'd be great on it." And I listened to the song, and not because I sang on the song, but I think it's one of their better tracks ever. And I was like, just stylistically, it was more appealing to me than any of their previous stuff. And I was like, yeah. So I just sang it in my home studio and sent it back, and these days it's just, it's a miracle. I actually sang it on that microphone right there.
Oh wow, there
So
we go.
it's with modern technology, it's a miracle. And the part they had written for me was super cool. And I actually shot the video in my hometown just with a production company there. It was super easy. And it just came together, and he actually told me, was talking to him on the phone the other day for something, or he was on, before these live streams, Underoath did a series of Twitches where we kind of broke down each album, and he was a guest, and he was saying it's still like their most downloaded song, which I thought was really cool. So I think people like to see, artists collab, and especially at a time like this, it's something that's fun, and so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so funny. I hadn't realized you'd done that one remotely as well. What a good preparation for the unlikely situation you're going to
Man,
find yourself in.
well, you know, I do a lot of writing and co-writing and stuff, and I did a big single for an American DJ. Her name is Rez, and I actually did that remotely as well.
Oh
And
wow.
then I actually flew up to Toronto where she is to film the video. But it was her big single, and I literally did it on that microphone. It's funny. So,
You're all set up, man. You were all set up for this nonsense year. You're all
I
good.
mean, yeah, I haven't stopped. I mean, we live in a world of technology, so you can get stuff done. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And speaking of getting stuff done, then I'll leave you with this. What do we think is going to be next for Underoath as a whole? Are you guys talking about the next record yet? Are you talking
We
about getting
have,
material
yeah.
together?
We've kind of like there's a Dropbox full of stuff kicking around, so we're kind of in that stage. I think with Underoath, since we got back together and since we made Erase Me, I think we sort of like overwrite, so everyone just kind of throws everything at the wall, and then it all gets slapped into this Dropbox, and then we kind of go through that Dropbox and decide, like, what's going to get more attention, what's going to take more time. So we're kind of at that phase right now. I was actually flying here once a month at the start of the year and we were actually spending a week writing a month, just hard writing together. And then that stopped, with COVID. So now it's slowed down a little bit. I think we would have had newer material sooner. Because Underoath isn't it's not a fast product, for us to take time. So I think that, we'll see. I don't really know. So now we're kind of in that remote phase. Spencer and I have been doing Zoom writing and, just trying to figure out what's next. I think for us, it's learning like anything else, and then this whole observatory thing kind of threw a wrench into the writing machine, because now we have to figure out, how to be great for all these things. So, that's taken a month right off the top. But, the plan is obviously to make a record, but it's just going slower than we would have hoped, because of coronavirus. So.
Oh, of course. Everyone's in the same boat, man. All very understandable. But good to hear there's things cooking that will hear at some point. Yeah,
for sure.
Man. All good. Well, I mean, Aaron, it's always great to chat to you, man.
Yeah,
congrats
absolutely.
Again on the observatory stuff, and hope
Cheers,
to see
thank
more
you.
and more coming. Because like I say, really ambitious, and you pulled it off. I'm impressed, man. A very, very cool remote setup
Thank you.
there.
Thank
really,
you.
really impressive. All right, good to chat to you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you too.